At 15, my parents trusted my sister's lie and threw me out into the storm. Leave. I won't keep a broken daughter. 3 hours later, the police summoned them to the hospital. When Dad walked in and saw who sat by my bed, his hands began to tremble. You can't be here. Can you even fathom being 15, soaking wet, shivering in a storm, and hearing your own father spit, "Get out. I don't need a sick daughter like you." That's my story. And for 13 years, I thought that night broke me. But what if that moment of ultimate betrayal became the fuse for an explosion of truth, a public reckoning they never, ever saw coming? The reason? My little sister, Madison, spun a lie, a twisted, calculated lie that my parents swallowed whole. Without a single question. Just like that, I was gone. Erased. 3 agonizing hours later, the phone rang in their perfect home. It was the police. I was in the hospital. I'd been hit by a car. And when my dad, the man who'd just banished me, finally walked into that sterile hospital room, his jaw hit the floor. His hands started shaking uncontrollably. Because sitting by my bed, an angel disguised as a stranger, was Dr. Eleanor Smith, one of the most respected professors in the entire state. She found me broken on the side of the road, and she saved my life. That night changed everything. Just last month, I found myself standing on a stage, center spotlight, as the keynote speaker at my sister's graduation ceremony. My parents? They had absolutely no idea I was even coming. You see, I learned pretty quickly in our house that Madison's tears always outshone my achievements. I mean, always. I was 11, right? I won first place at the regional science fair. My project on water filtration systems? It beat out 40 other students. I was bursting with pride. I remember clutching that bright blue ribbon, running home, bursting through the door to find Mom in the kitchen. I won. I shouted, my voice probably a little too loud. She smiled, she hugged me. That's wonderful, sweetheart. But then Madison, all of 8 years old, walked in from dance practice. Her face was bright red, tears streaming. I messed up my pirouette. Everyone laughed at me. Just like that, Mom's arms left me. She knelt down, pulled Madison close. "Oh, baby, it's okay. You'll do better next time." I just stood there, my blue ribbon still clutched in my hand. Nobody even asked to see it. That became the pattern, you know? Madison needed more attention. Madison was sensitive. Madison required careful handling. Me? I just learned to celebrate quietly, to need less, to take up less space. By 14, I'd stopped even bothering to show them my report cards. My straight A's? They just couldn't compete with Madison's B- drama. Then I got accepted into this incredible summer science camp. Full scholarship, 2 weeks of environmental science with actual researchers. I was ecstatic. Thrilled. I told them, bursting with excitement. My dad just barely looked up from his phone. "That's nice, Olivia." That was it. But then Madison burst into tears. Why does she get to go away? That's not fair. And just like always, Mom squeezed Madison's shoulder. "Olivia, maybe you could skip it this year. Your sister needs." "I need you here," Madison finished, still sobbing. So I didn't go. They said it was about family unity. About being understanding, about being the bigger person. I heard it all. What I really learned was to be small, quiet, and completely undemanding. But let me tell you, that breaking point was coming. I just had no idea it would arrive in the middle of a literal storm. The lies started subtly, you know? Small things. Madison, 12 now, would borrow my stuff without asking. If I gently, always gently, pointed it out, she'd deny it. "I never touched your sweater," she'd say, even when it was literally sitting on her bed. Mom would just sigh, "Olivia, don't start fights." Then, things escalated. $50 vanished from Mom's wallet. Madison immediately said she saw me near Mom's purse that morning. I hadn't even been home. I'd left for school early. My dad called me into his study. His voice was cold. "Did you take money from your mother?" "No, I didn't." "Madison says you did." "Madison's lying." His jaw tightened. "Don't accuse your sister." "But I didn't." "Enough." His voice cut through mine like a knife. "I'm disappointed in you, Olivia. I thought you were better than this." I lost my phone for a month. And that science camp opportunity I'd been promised for the next summer? Gone. We can't trust you with independence right now, Mom told me. And Madison? She watched from the stairs, and when our parents weren't looking, she smiled. A small, chilling smile. That stolen $50? It was just a test run. Madison was figuring out she could get away with anything. And she did. The pattern just spiraled. A broken vase? My fault. Madison failed a test she hadn't studied for? I should have helped her more. A nasty rumor at school about her cheating on a quiz? Guess who started it? Me. I just stopped defending myself. What was the point? They believed her crocodile tears over my truth every single time. By the time I was 15, I felt like a ghost in my own house. Present, but invisible. There only if they needed someone to blame. I started spending every spare moment at the library, at school, anywhere but home. I'd whisper to myself, just survive till college. 2 more years. I can make it 2 more years. I was so wrong. It was October, junior year. That whole week just felt heavy. There was this guy, Jake, in my AP chemistry class. Nice kid, but absolutely terrible at balancing equations. He'd asked me for help a few times, and I'd stayed after class to explain stoichiometry. That was it. Just homework help. But Madison? She had this massive, obsessive crush on him. She'd literally walk past my classroom just to sneak a peek. I'd even seen her practicing Madison Sterling Walker in her diary when I went to return a pen she'd borrowed. Then, on Tuesday, Jake caught me at my locker. "Hey, thanks for the help yesterday," he said, flashing a smile. "You really saved me." I just smiled back. "No problem. Maybe we could study together sometime for the midterm." "Sure, library works." "Cool." He walked away. I turned, and there she was. Madison. 20 feet down the hall, staring at me. Her face was ashen. That night at dinner, she barely spoke, just pushed food around her plate. Mom kept asking if she was okay, but Madison just shrugged, refusing to say a word. I should have known. Silence from Madison was always more dangerous than her tears. On Thursday, we had a visiting lecturer in biology, Dr. Eleanor Smith, from the State University. She was talking about educational equity research. I stayed after, just to ask a few more questions. She seemed genuinely impressed. "You have a curious mind," she told me, handing me her card. "Don't let anyone dim that light." I smiled, thanked her, completely unaware that she would literally save my life. A week later, that Friday, the storm warning started. A huge one was rolling in. Everyone was preparing, stocking up, battening down. Madison still wasn't speaking to me, wouldn't even look at me. I remember thinking, finally, I'll have the weekend to catch up on homework in peace. I had absolutely no idea what she was planning. Friday evening, around 6, the rain started. We ate dinner in a tense, unsettling silence. Dad's phone kept buzzing with flood warnings and wind advisories. Everyone was on edge. Madison just picked at her pasta, but I could feel her eyes on me. Every time I glanced up, she'd quickly look away. After dinner, I went to my room, started my English homework. Outside, the wind howled, rain hammered against the windows, the kind of storm that makes you grateful to be inside. Around 8 p.m., I heard it. Crying downstairs. Madison. Loud, heaving sobs. I froze. Pen dropped. I just listened. Mom's voice, soothing, "Sweetheart, what's wrong? Talk to me." More crying. I waited. Maybe she twisted her ankle? Failed another test? My heart hammered. Then Olivia. Dad's voice. Sharp. Angry. "Get down here now." My stomach dropped like a stone. I walked downstairs slowly, each step heavy, dragging. Madison was on the couch, face buried in Mom's shoulder. Mom was stroking her hair. Dad stood by the fireplace, arms crossed, face a furious red. "What's going on?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Madison looked up. Her eyes were swollen, tears streaming. She looked at me, and for just a flicker, less than a second, I saw something else behind those tears, something chillingly cold. Then it was gone. "Tell her what you told us," Dad said, his voice like ice. Madison's lip trembled. "Why do you hate me so much?" "What?" I stepped closer. I don't hate you. Then why? She hiccuped, sobbing dramatically. Why have you been spreading rumors about me at school? My mind went blank. Rumors? About me and Jake? About me cheating on that quiz? About me being a liar? The floor literally tilted beneath me. Madison, don't lie to her, Mom said quietly. Just don't. I had no clue what she was talking about, but I had a horrifying premonition. I was about to find out, and it would cost me everything. I didn't spread any rumors. I insisted, my voice shaking. I don't know what you're talking about. Madison pulled out her phone, hands trembling. Then explain this. She shoved a screenshot in Mom's face, group chat messages I'd supposedly sent. Vicious, nasty stuff about Madison. Things I would never say. But there was my name. My profile picture. I didn't write those. I cried. Someone's using my account. Stop. Dad's voice cracked like thunder. Just stop lying. I'm not. And Jake, Madison whispered, her voice a poisonous hiss. You knew I liked him, but you've been flirting with him, trying to make me look stupid. He asked me for help with chemistry. I pleaded. That's all. That's all. Madison's voice rose to a scream. You've been staying after class with him, meeting him at the library. He told his friend he thinks you're pretty. We're study partners. You tried to steal him from me. Madison was standing now, face contorted. And last week you pushed me on the stairs. Look. She pulled up her sleeve. A dark purple bruise bloomed on her forearm. I stared, aghast. I never touched you. You did, Mom. She did. I didn't want to say anything because I thought maybe she was just stressed. Mom stood up, moving between us. Olivia, this is serious. If you hurt your sister, I didn't. Then how did she get that bruise? Dad thundered. I don't know. Maybe she did it herself. The words hung in the air, defiant. Madison's eyes went wide, fresh tears spilling. You think I'd hurt myself? Just to frame you. Yes. I was shouting now, desperate, my voice hoarse. Yes. Because you do this. You lie. You've been lying about me for years. Dad took a menacing step toward me. Is this true, Olivia? You've been bullying your sister, making her life miserable. No. God, no. Please, just listen. I've heard enough. Enough. Dad's fists slammed onto the mantelpiece, the sound echoing through the room. I've heard enough of your excuses. They're not excuses. Please, just let me explain. There's nothing to explain. Mom's voice was quiet, laced with bone-deep disappointment. I thought we raised you better than this. Madison sobbed into her hands, a perfect picture of a distraught victim. I looked at her, really looked at her. And for a fleeting moment, she looked back. And she wasn't crying anymore. Her eyes were dry. Calculating. You're lying, I whispered, barely a breath. I'm not, she said, and her voice didn't even waver. You are. You made all of this up. Olivia. Mom started. She's lying. I turned to Dad, pleading. Please, you have to believe me. I would never hurt her. I would never spread rumors. She's doing this because she's jealous. Because Jake doesn't like her. Because that's it. Dad's voice went cold. Flat. Deadly. I don't want to hear another word from you. You're sick. Something's wrong with you. The word hit me like a physical slap. Sick, I'm not. You need help. Professional help. But right now, he pointed a trembling finger at the door. Right now, I need you out of my sight. The rain was pounding outside. Thunder shook the windows. Dad, it's storming. I don't care. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem. His face twisted into a mask of pure disgust. Get out. I don't need a sick daughter like you in this house. Those words, they carved themselves into my soul. Sick daughter, like I was diseased, broken, fundamentally wrong. I looked at Mom, begging silently, say something. Stop him. Tell him this is insane. She just turned away, pulling Madison closer, her arm around her. I stumbled to the hook, grabbed my jacket. My hands were shaking so violently I could barely zip it. The door slammed behind me. And through the window I saw her. Madison. Watching me leave. She wasn't crying. She was smiling. A small, triumphant smile. The rain hit me like a physical wall. Cold. Angry. Within seconds, I was drenched to the bone. I stood on that porch for a moment, just waiting. Pleading. Maybe Dad would come after me? Apologize? Say he'd overreacted? But the door stayed shut. Solid. Unmoving. I started walking. Nowhere to go. Just away. Away from that house. Away from Madison's venomous lies. Away from parents who believed I was sick. My phone buzzed. A dying gasp. 8% battery. I pulled it out, tried calling my friend Sarah. No answer. Jessica? Straight to voicemail. It was Friday night. Everyone else was safe, warm, home with their families. Not me. The wind whipped my hair into my face. Rain came down in relentless sheets. I could barely see 10 feet in front of me. Cars sped past, splashing water from puddles. No one stopped. No one even slowed down. I headed towards the library, clinging to a desperate hope. Maybe I could wait out the storm there? But it was closed. Dark windows, locked doors. The bus station was 2 miles away. 2 miles, if I could just make it there, I could sit inside, stay warm, figure out something. I walked. Every single step felt like lead. My shoes were soaked through, water squelching with each footfall. My jacket clung to my skin, heavy cold. I was so cold my teeth wouldn't stop chattering. Thunder cracked directly overhead, lightning split the sky. I actually thought about turning back. About knocking on that door, begging to come home. But the look on Dad's face, the pure disgust. I couldn't unsee it. Sick daughter, maybe he was right. Maybe something was wrong with me. Why else would my own family choose Madison's lies, over me, every single time? The bus station was still a mile away. The rain got heavier, the wind stronger. I didn't see the headlights until it was almost too late. I was crossing an intersection. The light was green. I swear it was green. But the rain was coming down so hard, the wind howling, I just couldn't see clearly. The car, it came out of nowhere. Headlights bright, blinding. A horn blared. Brakes shrieked. I tried to jump back. Wasn't fast enough. The impact slammed into me, throwing me sideways. I felt my body hit the hood, then the pavement. Hard. My head cracked against the asphalt. Pain exploded through my skull, white-hot, all-consuming. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Rain poured into my mouth, my eyes. Everything was sideways. Wrong. Then I heard it. A car door slam. Footsteps, running, splashing through the water. Oh my God. Oh my God. A woman's voice. Panicked. Sweetheart, can you hear me? I tried to answer. Nothing came out. Don't move. Just stay still. I'm calling 911. Her hands were on my shoulder. Gentle. Stay with me. Okay. What's your name? I blinked. Tried to focus. Her face was blurry. Dark hair. Rain streaming down her cheeks. She looked familiar. Had I seen her before? My parents, I managed, my voice barely a whisper. Your parents? Okay. What's their number? I'll call them. They don't. I coughed, tasted blood. They don't want me. Her face changed then. What? They kicked me out. The words felt heavy, broken. Said I'm sick. Don't want me anymore. She just stared at me, rain pouring down between us. I saw something shift in her expression. Recognition, maybe. Or just pure horror. You're going to be okay, she said, but her voice shook. I promise you're going to be okay. Sirens. In the distance. Getting closer. Her face was the last thing I saw before the world went completely, utterly black. I don't remember the ambulance. Don't remember the frantic rush to the hospital. My first clear memory is just sound. The rhythmic beep 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 of machines. The sterile hum of fluorescent lights. The pungent smell of antiseptic. And a voice. The woman from the accident. She has a severe concussion, possible internal bleeding. You need to keep her for observation. I tried to open my eyes. Too heavy. Everything hurt. I'm staying. That same voice, but firm now. No longer panicked. I'm not leaving her alone. Ma'am, are you family? I'm the one who hit her with my car. I'm staying until her parents arrive. Time blurred. I drifted in and out, voices coming and going. At some point, I heard new voices. Familiar ones. We're Olivia Sterling's parents. Dad. He sounded strained. Mr. and Mrs. Sterling. The woman's voice again. But cold now. Professional. A voice that could cut steel. I'm Dr. Eleanor Smith. A beat of silence. Then, recognition. You're a professor at the State University, Mom stammered. I am Dean of Graduate Studies, actually, Dr. Smith corrected, her tone sharp, unapologetic. And I'm the one who hit your daughter with my car tonight. It was an accident, Dad said quickly, too quickly. We don't blame. She ran across the road in the middle of a storm. She was soaking wet. Dr. Smith's voice rose, simmering with barely contained fury. Alone. At night. She was 15 years old. Why was she out there? Silence. Thick. Heavy. Mr. Sterling, I asked you a question. We had a family situation. A discipline issue. A discipline issue. Dr. Smith repeated the words slowly, letting them hang in the air. What kind of discipline issue involves putting a child out in a storm? We didn't. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Dr. Smith pressed, relentless. Because your daughter told me something before she lost consciousness. She said her parents didn't want her anymore. She said you told her she was sick. More silence. Then a small, scared voice. Madison's voice. You're lying. Olivia's making that up. She was barely conscious, Dr. Smith retorted, her voice hard. She wasn't making anything up. I heard footsteps. Someone walking away from my bed. Dr. Smith's voice followed, further away. Now I need to speak with a social worker. Now that won't be necessary, Dad's voice, trying to sound authoritative. Failing. Her parents will handle this from here. With all due respect, sir, Dr. Smith's voice was back, closer now, a low growl. You've handled it enough. This is a private family matter. The moment you sent a minor out in a storm, Mr. Sterling, it stopped being private. Dr. Smith's footsteps came back to my bedside. I felt her hand on mine. Warm. Protective. I'm not leaving until I know she's safe. A new voice. A police officer. Mr. Sterling, we need to ask some questions. We haven't done anything wrong. Mom said, but her voice was shaking. Your daughter was hit by a car at 11 p.m. in a major storm. She's 15 years old. We need to understand why she wasn't home. I tried to open my eyes, managed a weak flutter. Everything was blurry, just shapes moving. I saw Dad's silhouette. And Madison, lurking behind him. Dr. Smith noticed. She's waking up. Everyone out. Now. She's our daughter. Dad protested. And I'm the doctor in this room, Dr. Smith countered, cutting him off. Out. Footsteps. Voices fading. The door clicked shut. I felt Dr. Smith lean closer. Her hands squeezed mine gently. You're safe now, she whispered. I promise. You're safe. I wanted to believe her. But safe was a foreign word. I hadn't felt safe in years. I closed my eyes again, letting the comforting darkness take me. When I finally woke up 3 days later, my parents were gone. But Dr. Smith? She was still there. She'd kept her promise. She hadn't left me alone. My concussion was severe. I spent 4 more days in that hospital bed. Dr. Smith came every single day. She brought books, sat by my side, talked to me about college, about science, about futures I'd never even dared to imagine. My parents visited once. They brought a bag of clothes, some schoolwork. They stood awkwardly at the foot of my bed, uncomfortable, like strangers in hospital scrubs. We're glad you're okay, Mom said, her voice flat. Dad just nodded. You gave us quite a scare. Neither of them said sorry. Neither of them explained. Neither of them asked if I wanted to come home. Madison didn't come at all. On day 5, a social worker named Rita arrived. She had kind eyes, and she asked questions in this incredibly gentle voice. About my home, my family, what happened that night. I told her everything. Madison's insidious lies. My parents' blind belief in her. The searing words, sick daughter. Rita listened intently, taking notes. Olivia, she said softly, you have options. You don't have to go back there. Where else would I go? I asked, my voice hollow. Just then, Dr. Smith knocked softly and stepped in. She could stay with me. My eyes widened. What? Foster placement, temporary, until we figure out something permanent. If you want, she looked at Rita. I've already started the paperwork. Why would you do that? My voice cracked, raw with emotion. You don't even know me. Dr. Smith sat on the edge of my bed. Because someone once did it for me. When I was 17, my family kicked me out. A teacher took me in, changed my life. She gently touched my hand. You're brilliant, Olivia. You have potential most kids never dream of. Don't let anyone tell you you're sick. Don't let anyone dim that light. I started crying. I couldn't help it. Tears streamed down my face. I'll understand if you want to go home, Dr. Smith said softly. But if you want something different, I'm here. I made my decision right there in that hospital room. I chose different. 6 months later, I was a different person. Same name, but a completely different life. Dr. Smith's house was quiet, organized, full of books and plants and soft classical music. She gave me the guest room, told me I could decorate it however I wanted. I transferred schools, started fresh. No one knew about Madison, about my parents, about being the sick daughter. I was just Olivia. Smart. Focused. Finally, truly free to breathe. Dr. Smith, or Eleanor, as she insisted I call her, she opened up a whole new world I'd never even known existed. University lectures. Research symposiums. Dinners where I sat with brilliant professors, listening as they debated policy and equity and change. Education is freedom, she'd tell me. Knowledge is power. No one can ever take that from you. I threw myself into school. Those straight A's? They weren't just grades anymore. They were proof. Proof that I wasn't sick, wasn't broken, wasn't wrong. Eleanor taught me about grant writing, about scholarships, about the very systems designed to help kids like me, kids from impossible situations, kids who needed a second chance. You're going to do something truly important someday, she told me once, over pasta and salad at dinner. So normal. So safe. I can see it. I thought about my old family sometimes. Wondered if Madison ever confessed the truth. If Dad ever regretted those brutal words. If Mom ever stood up for me. But mostly, I didn't think about them at all. I heard snippets through mutual friends. Madison was doing just fine. Still the golden child, still the center of attention. My parents? They'd removed all my photos from the house. Like I'd never existed. Good, I remember thinking. Let them erase me. I'm building something infinitely better. By my senior year, I had a solid plan, college major in education policy. I was going to build something real, something that would help kids who fall through the cracks, kids whose families failed them. I was going to turn my pain into purpose. College was a blur of late-night study sessions and slowly, painstakingly learning to trust again. I got a full scholarship to a prestigious university. Eleanor's recommendation letter? It was absolutely glowing. I majored in education policy and social justice, with a minor in psychology. I needed to understand the systems, why some kids found help, and others fell through cracks wide enough to swallow them whole. My summers were spent interning at nonprofits, grant-writing organizations, youth advocacy groups. I learned how money moved, how programs started, how to turn empathy into action. I graduated summa cum laude. Eleanor cried at my ceremony. I'm so proud of you, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. So incredibly proud. I was hired immediately as a research coordinator at a university education department, Eleanor's university, actually. Different building, professional distance, but still connected. At 25, I had an idea. A scholarship program specifically for students from impossible family situations. Kids who'd been kicked out, abused, neglected, kids who desperately needed a second chance. I called it the Second Chances Scholarship. Original, I know, but clear. Eleanor helped me write the grant proposals. We secured funding from 3 organizations, launched the program as a pilot at 1 university, then 2, then 5. By the time I was 27, we'd awarded over $200,000 in scholarships, helping 47 students stay in school, stay alive, stay hopeful. Media started paying attention. Local newspapers, education journals. I gave interviews, spoke at conferences, always telling my story vaguely. A 15-year-old girl who was told she didn't belong. Never naming names. Then one day, my colleague David Brooks knocked on my office door. "Olivia, you're being considered for keynote speaker at a graduation ceremony." "Which university?" I asked casually. "Riverside State University." My stomach dropped like a stone. I stopped, took a shaky breath. "That's my sister's school." David blinked. "You have a sister?" "Not anymore," I said quietly, the words heavy. "But yes, she graduates this spring." David sat down, looking concerned. "Do you want me to decline on your behalf?" I stared at my desk, at my hands, at the scholarship applications stacked in neat piles. 47 students. 47 second chances. "What's the theme?" I finally asked. "Resilience and educational equity. President Walsh specifically requested you. He said your work embodies everything the ceremony should represent." My work. This scholarship program, born from being thrown away, from being called sick. I paused. Would I have creative control over my speech? Complete control. They just want you there. I started thinking. Madison, sitting in her cap and gown, smiling, probably bragging about her perfect family, her supportive parents, her only child status. My parents in the audience, proud, completely oblivious, still convinced they'd made the right choice 13 years ago. And me, standing on that stage, telling my story. Not for revenge. For closure. "I need to talk to Eleanor," I told her that night over dinner, laying it all out. "They have no idea I even exist in this capacity. No idea I built this. They probably think I'm dead or homeless or—" I trailed off. "I don't know what they think." Eleanor slowly set down her fork. "What do you want to happen, Olivia?" "I want to close this chapter. Properly. Not with anger, but with truth. And if they're hurt, they hurt me first." I met her eyes steady. "I'm not doing this for revenge, Eleanor. I'm doing this because my story matters. Because showing them who I became, despite them, that's not vindictive. That's honest." Eleanor reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Then do it, Olivia. On your terms. With your head held high. Show them who you are now." I called David the next morning. "Tell President Walsh I accept." I didn't see Madison in person, but I heard things. I saw things. Social media, it makes ghosts visible. She posted constantly. Her entire senior year was meticulously documented in filtered photos and carefully curated captions. Brunches with friends. Study sessions that looked more like photo shoots. The perfect college experience. "Can't believe I'm graduating in 2 months," one caption read. "So grateful for my parents who supported me every step of the way." #blessed, #family first. The comments poured in. "You're amazing. So proud of you. Your parents raised you right." I scrolled through her profile once. Just once. Morbid curiosity, There were no photos of me. Not a single mention of a sister in her entire digital universe. I'd simply never existed. One post, though, really snagged my attention. Madison at dinner with our parents. Big smiles, wine glasses raised. Celebrating my graduation with the 2 best people in the world. "Love you, Mom and Dad." Dad looked older, grayer at the temples. Mom looked tired. But they looked happy. Proud. I closed the app. Through old acquaintances, people I'd known before the storm, I heard Madison was absolutely buzzing about graduation. Big ceremony. All her friends would be there. Her parents were throwing a huge party afterward. The keynote speaker is supposed to be really good, one friend posted in a group chat I was still accidentally part of. Some researcher who started a scholarship program. Should be inspiring. Madison had replied, "Ugh, those speeches are always so boring, but whatever. It's my day." I actually smiled at that. I took a screenshot. Saved it. Not for revenge, but just for proof. Proof that she had no idea. No clue what was about to happen. I wondered if she'd even recognize me. 13 years was a long, long time. I'd changed. Grown up. Become someone else entirely. Guess we'd find out, wouldn't we? I wrote my speech over 2 intense weeks. Drafted. Revised. Cut. Added. Read it aloud to Eleanor a dozen times. Don't mention names, Eleanor advised. Just tell the story. Let people connect the dots themselves. My speech opened with hard statistics, educational inequity, students who fall through systemic cracks. Then it shifted. Personal. At 15, I'd say, I was told I didn't belong. That something was fundamentally wrong with me. That I was too broken to keep. I practiced in front of the mirror, watching my face. Stay calm. Composed. Professional. But someone saw potential instead of problems. Someone gave me a second chance. And that changed everything. No tears. No anger. Just facts. Just truth. David handled all the logistics. Parking, credentials, my name in the program. Olivia Sterling, Director of Second Chances Scholarship Program. The night before, I couldn't sleep a wink. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. Madison. Dad's brutal, sick daughter. Mom turning away. Was I doing this for the right reasons? Eleanor knocked softly. She came in with tea, sat on the edge of my bed, just like she had 100 times before. Second thoughts, she asked gently. Just thoughts. You're not the girl they threw away, Olivia, she said, her voice firm. You're the woman who built herself back up. Remember that tomorrow. I sipped the chamomile tea with honey. Will you be there? Front row. Always. Morning came too fast. I dressed carefully. A sharp navy suit. Professional, but not stuffy. Eleanor's grandmother's pearl necklace. She'd insisted I borrow it. In the mirror, I saw someone new. Confident. Successful. Nothing like the soaked, terrified 15-year-old who'd been told she was sick. I was ready. The campus was absolutely beautiful. Old brick buildings, perfectly manicured lawns, students everywhere in their caps and gowns, families taking photos, laughter echoing, excitement buzzing in the air. It felt electric with possibility. I arrived early, met President Walsh in his office. He was incredibly warm, effusive. Miss Sterling, he gushed, we're honored to have you. Your work is extraordinary. Thank you, sir. The students will be inspired, I'm sure of it. David walked me to the auditorium. Backstage was this buzzing, controlled chaos, faculty adjusting robes, staff checking microphones, graduates peeking through the curtains at the rapidly filling seats. I glanced at the program, my eyes scanning the graduate names. There. Row 3. Madison Sterling, Bachelor of Arts, Communications. My heart literally kicked against my ribs. You okay? David asked, noticing my pause. Yes. I folded the program, my hand trembling slightly. Just ready. Eleanor arrived then, looking regal in a beautiful emerald dress. She radiated pride. She hugged me tight. You've got this. I know. Remember. I know. I smiled, a tight, determined smile. Head high. Truth clear. No revenge. Just honesty. She kissed my cheek, then went to find her seat. The auditorium was filling rapidly. I could hear the murmur of hundreds of voices. Families, friends, all here to celebrate their graduates. Somewhere out there, my parents were sitting down. Probably in the middle section. Good view. Excited for Madison's big moment. They had no idea who the keynote speaker was. David had confirmed my name was in the program, buried in small print. Most people didn't read speaker bios that carefully. They'd find out soon enough. President Walsh touched my shoulder. 5 minutes, Miss Sterling. You're on. After the opening remarks, I nodded, took a deep breath, smoothed my suit jacket. From the wings, I could see the massive stage. The podium. The microphone. Hundreds of blurred faces beyond the lights. It was time. Now, before I tell you exactly what happened when I stepped onto that stage, I have to ask you, have you ever been in a situation where your own family doubted you, dismissed you, but you absolutely proved them wrong? If so, tell me with a yes or no in the comments. I'd love to hear your experiences. And if you're feeling this story so far, please hit that like button. It truly helps this message reach others who might need to hear it. Okay, back to the ceremony. This is where everything changed. President Walsh stepped to the podium. The immense crowd quieted, a wave of anticipation washing over them. "Welcome, graduates, families, and honored guests," he began. "Today, we celebrate achievement, resilience, and the boundless potential of our students." Polite applause. Cheers. Our keynote speaker embodies these very values. She's dedicated her career to ensuring that every student, regardless of circumstance, has access to opportunity. Please welcome the director of the Second Chances Scholarship Program, Miss Olivia Sterling. The auditorium erupted in warm, polite applause. I stepped into the blinding spotlight. The stage was vast, the podium centered, the microphone waiting. Beyond the front row, faces blurred into a sea of caps and gowns. I walked with measured, deliberate steps. Confident. Calm. My heels clicked, a sharp, clear sound against the stage floor. And then, I saw them. Row 3. Madison. Cap and gown, honor cords around her neck. She was clapping, smiling, turned halfway, whispering something to the girl beside her. Then, slowly, she looked up. And saw me. Her hands froze mid-clap. Her smile faltered. Confusion crossed her face, then a dawning recognition. Then, pure, unadulterated shock. Her mouth opened slightly, but no sound came out. Behind her, in row 8, Mom and Dad. Still clapping, not looking closely yet. Just polite audience members, applauding a speaker whose name they hadn't even registered. I reached the podium, adjusted the microphone, and looked out over the crowd. Madison's face was utterly pale, staring, frozen. Her friend nudged her. "You okay?" Eleanor sat in the front row, stage right. She nodded once, a small, powerful, encouraging gesture. I gripped the podium edges. "Good morning," I began, my voice clear, strong, amplified, reaching hundreds of people. "Thank you, President Walsh, for that generous introduction." Dad's head snapped up. I saw him lean forward, squint, trying to place my voice. Mom's hand flew to her chest. I could see it even from the stage. My voice stayed level, conversational. "It's an honor to be here today. Today, I want to talk about resilience. About what happens when you lose everything and then find yourself anyway. Let me tell you about a 15-year-old girl." My words were steady. She was told she didn't belong. That something was fundamentally wrong with me. That she was too broken to keep. Mom's hand gripped Dad's arm. I saw it. One night, in the middle of a storm, she was put out. Told to leave. Told she wasn't wanted anymore. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Uncomfortable shifting. She wandered alone in that storm for hours. No phone. No money. No place to go. She was hit by a car. Nearly died. Madison had gone completely still. Frozen. Her face was ashen. But someone stopped. Someone helped. Someone saw potential where everyone else saw problems. Eleanor's eyes were bright, brimming with proud tears. That person became her family. Her mentor. Her mother in every way that mattered. I paused. Let the truth settle. That 15-year-old girl was me. The auditorium went dead silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Dad stood up halfway, then Mom frantically pulled him back down. Both of them were staring, mouths open, utterly stunned. Madison looked like she wanted to evaporate, to disappear through her chair. Students all around her whispered, pointed. Her friends looked confused. Concerned. "I'm here today," I continued, "because Dr. Eleanor Smith," I gestured to Eleanor, "didn't give up on me when my own family did. She taught me that rejection isn't the end. It's a beginning." More whispers, spreading like wildfire. The Second Chances Scholarship was born from that experience. It exists for students who've been told they're not enough. Who've been dismissed. Abandoned. Cast aside. I looked directly at Madison, met her gaze. Because being rejected doesn't define you. What you do afterward does. Today, that scholarship has helped 47 students. My voice stayed level. Clear. Students just like the girl I used to be. A woman in the back whispered loudly, "Is that really her family?" I continued, professional, unshaken. I learned something incredibly important in those years after the storm. Family isn't always biology. Sometimes it's choice. Sometimes it's the people who choose you when others walk away. Eleanor wiped her eyes, a soft, proud smile on her face. I learned that you don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need one person. One person who sees past the surface. Past the accusations. Past the lies. Madison's face crumpled. She looked down, her shoulders shaking violently. Her friends had stopped whispering. They were staring at her now, connecting the dots. And I learned. I gripped the podium, my voice ringing with conviction, that success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about building something meaningful, despite them. Dad's hands were visibly trembling. He looked like he wanted to bolt, to run, to escape. Mom was crying silently, mascara streaming down her face. So, to the graduating class of Riverside State University, I concluded, my voice rising, I leave you with this. Your worth is not determined by who stays. It's determined by how you grow after they leave. I paused. Let that sink in. You will face rejection. Disappointment. People who underestimate you. That's guaranteed. I looked across the sea of young, hopeful faces in caps and gowns. But you get to decide what happens next. You get to choose who you become. A standing ovation. Slowly at first, then building, students rising, then faculty, then families. Not everyone. Dad stayed seated, utterly pale, his hands clamped over his face. Mom stood mechanically, clapping weakly, tears streaming. Madison, she didn't move. Sat frozen, staring at her lap. I stepped back from the podium. President Walsh was absolutely beaming. Thank you, Miss Sterling. That was powerful. I walked off stage, back into the wings, and I finally breathed. The ceremony continued. President Walsh returned to the podium, started calling names. I stayed backstage, watching through the narrow gap in the curtains. The entire energy of the room had shifted. Students walked across the stage to receive their diplomas, but the applause was distracted, uneven. People were still processing my speech, talking, pointing, checking their phones. Madison Sterling, Bachelor of Arts, Communications. Madison stood, walked stiffly to the stage. Her smile was tight-forced. Her hands shook as she accepted her diploma. The applause was thin, scattered. Some people clapped enthusiastically, her closest friends, probably, but others didn't clap at all. They just watched. Whispered. She walked off stage quickly, practically disappearing into the crowd of graduates. I saw her friends huddled around her, talking urgently. Madison shaking her head, trying to explain something, anything, and failing. Dad and Mom sat rigid, not talking, not moving, just staring straight ahead, completely shell-shocked. After all the names were called, President Walsh closed the ceremony. Congratulations to the class of 2026. Caps flew. Cheers erupted. Families rushed forward. I slipped out a side door, meeting Eleanor in the reception area just outside the auditorium. You did it, she said, her voice thick with emotion, hugging me tight. I did. How do you feel? I thought about it. Free. David appeared, looking completely flustered. Olivia, that was. I mean, wow. He swallowed. I had no idea. Your family, are you okay? I'm fine. They're asking to see you. Who? Your parents. They're at the side entrance. They want to talk. My stomach clenched. Do I have to? David shook his head. Absolutely not. I can have security. Can? No, I straightened my shoulders. I'll talk to them. On my terms. 5 minutes. That's it. Eleanor squeezed my hand. I'll be right here. I walked toward that side entrance, toward the family I'd left behind 13 years ago. They stood by a pillar. Dad's face was ashen, drained of color. Mom's makeup was smeared, streaked by tears. Madison hovered behind them, her eyes red, swollen. I stopped 3 feet away. Professional distance. You wanted to talk? Dad's mouth opened. Closed. Olivia. We didn't know you'd be here. I'm sure you didn't. You look. Mom's voice broke. You look well. I am well. Dr. Smith made sure of that. Eleanor had followed me, standing slightly behind, a silent, protective presence. Dad's eyes flicked to her, then quickly away. We owe you an apology. You owe me a lot more than that, I said, my voice calm, level, but firm. But an apology is a start. We made a mistake, Mom said, tears welling again. A terrible mistake. We should have listened. You should have protected me. That's what parents do. They protect their children. I kept my hands at my sides. Didn't cross my arms. Didn't close myself off. You chose Madison's lie over my truth. You called me sick. You threw me out in a storm. Madison flinched, fresh tears rolling down her face. We were wrong, Dad said, his voice cracking, raw with emotion. I was wrong. Olivia, I've regretted that night every single day for 13 years. Good. The word hung there, sharp, undeniable. Can we talk? Privately. As a family? Mom reached a trembling hand toward me. We're not a family, I said gently. Not cruel, just factual. You made that clear 13 years ago. But we can fix it, Dad said desperately. We can. We want to fix it, please. There's nothing to fix. You made your choice. I made mine. We're done. Olivia. Madison's voice. Quiet. Broken. I'm sorry. I was 12. I was stupid. I didn't know. You were old enough to know what you were doing. Just then, David appeared with a folder. Olivia, these are the scholarship applications for next semester. President Walsh wanted you to have them before you left. He handed me the folder. Official university letterhead. My name. My title. Photos of scholarship recipients. Testimonials. Dad's eyes fixed on it. You really did all this? Yes. Despite everything. Mom took the folder, gently, carefully, and opened it. She read, her face crumpling. 200 students, 47 so far, but we're expanding. You're a director. Senior director, as of last month. I took the folder back. I work with 5 universities. We've granted over $200,000 in scholarships to students from difficult situations. President Walsh joined us, completely oblivious to the tension. Miss Sterling, that was the best keynote we've had in years. The students are still talking about it. Thank you, President Walsh. He turned to my parents. Are you Olivia's family? You must be so proud. Silence. Eleanor stepped forward. They are, she said smoothly, a tiny smile playing on her lips. Aren't you, Mr. Sterling? Dad's jaw worked. Yes. Very proud. President Walsh beamed. Miss Sterling is one of our most valued partners. Her program has changed lives. Literally saved some of these kids. He shook my hand, then walked away. Dad stared at me. He really looked. We had no idea. You never asked, I said, my voice soft, not angry, just tired. You erased me. Pretended I never existed. Why would you know? I tried to find you, Mom whispered, her voice choked. After the hospital, you disappeared. I changed my name legally, made it harder. I met her eyes. I needed you to not find me. I needed space to heal. Did you? Dad asked, his voice raw. Heal? Yes. No thanks to you. Just then, Madison's friends approached. 3 of them, looking deeply uncomfortable. Madison. One girl touched her arm. Is that true? Is she really your sister? Madison just nodded, unable to speak. You said you were an only child. I know. You told everyone your sister died. Another friend's voice was cold, laced with disbelief. Last year you said she died in a car accident when you were 12. My eyebrows rose. You told them I was dead. Madison's face flushed crimson. I didn't. It was easier than explaining. Explaining what? The first friend demanded. That your family kicked her out? That you lied about her? It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? The third friend looked at me, a genuine apology in her eyes. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Thank you, I said quietly. They turned and walked away, leaving Madison standing there alone, watching them leave. Madison. Mom started. Don't. Madison's voice was sharp, a desperate plea. Just don't. She looked at me, really looked at me. I wanted to tell them so many times. I wanted to tell everyone the truth, but I was scared. Scared of what? That they'd hate me. That everyone would hate me. She wiped her eyes. They were right too. I deserve it. Madison, I stepped closer. I don't hate you. I forgive you for my own peace, not yours. But I don't want a relationship. I need you to respect that. Can't we just? No, my voice was firm. Clear. You made choices for 13 years. Choices to keep lying. To keep me erased. That's not childhood stupidity. That's who you became. Madison sobbed. Mom pulled her close. I looked at Eleanor. Can we go? Yes, she said, linking her arm with mine. Let's go home. We walked away. Didn't look back. Didn't look. But behind us, I heard Madison crying. And my dad calling my name. Weak. Desperate. I just kept walking. Okay, I need to pause here for just a second. That moment, standing there, watching Madison's perfect world crumble, realizing she couldn't lie her way out of this one, that was 13 years in the making. The week after graduation, my phone became a relentless buzzing nuisance. Voicemails from Dad, please call back. We need to talk. I'm so sorry. We're so sorry. Just, please. Emails from Mom, long, rambling apologies full of excuses. We were under so much stress. Madison was just going through a phase. We didn't understand what we were doing. I didn't respond. Not yet. Work kept me busy. Scholarship applications poured in. The ceremony had gone viral. Not the whole thing, but my speech. Someone had recorded it, posted it to social media. 50,000 views. Then 100,000. Comments flooded in. This woman is incredible. Family isn't blood, it's who shows up, I cried. This is exactly what I needed to hear. But also, anyone know if this is real? What university was this? Need to know what happened to the sister? I ignored them, focusing on the work. Then an email popped up from one of Madison's former friends. Subject line, you deserve to know. Inside, screenshots. Group chats. Madison's friends, not just discussing her, but actively distancing themselves. One message stood out. I can't believe she lied about her sister being dead. That's psychotic. Another, I'm uninviting her from my wedding. I don't want drama. Madison's carefully constructed social life was officially crumbling. Part of me felt bad. A tiny, tiny part. The larger part felt nothing but pure, unadulterated relief. Eleanor and I had dinner that night. Quiet. Comfortable. How are you processing all of this? She asked gently. I don't know. I feel. I paused, searching for the right word. *free star dot. Like I'd finally put down something impossibly heavy I hadn't even realized I was carrying. You did well, Olivia. Handled it with grace. They want to reconcile. Do you? I thought about it. Really thought. No, I finally said. I don't think I do. She just nodded, squeezed my hand. That's okay. You're allowed to walk away. 2 weeks later, Dad showed up at my office. My assistant buzzed me. Olivia, there's a Mr. Sterling here to see you. He doesn't have an appointment, but he says he's your father. My stomach tightened, a familiar clench. Give me 5 minutes, I said, then send him in. I closed my laptop, straightened my desk, took a deep, steadying breath. Dad walked in. He looked 10 years older, his hair grayer, deep lines etched around his eyes. His shoulders were slumped, defeated. Thank you for seeing me, he mumbled. I have a meeting in 20 minutes. I understand. He sat across from my desk, stiffly, formally, like a job interview. Olivia, he began, his voice raw, I need to say this. We were wrong. I was wrong. What I did to you, what I said to you, it was unforgivable. Yes, it was. Madison told us the truth. Finally. Last week, she broke down. Confessed everything. The lies. The manipulation. All of it. 13 years too late. I know. I know it doesn't fix anything. His hands shook visibly. He clasped them together, trying to steady them. But I need you to understand. We've been living with this guilt. Every day. Every single day, we look at that empty room, the photos we took down, and we know. We know we destroyed something we can never get back. You're right. You can't. Can you forgive us? I leaned back in my chair, considering him. Forgiveness isn't the issue, Dad. Trust is. And that's broken. Shattered. You believed Madison's lies over my truth. You called me sick. You threw me out in a storm. I know. You don't know, my voice stayed calm, quiet, but it held an edge of steel. You don't know what it's like to be 15 and homeless in a storm. To be told by your own father that you're too broken to love. You'll never know. Tears silently rolled down his face. What can I do? Tell me what I can do. Nothing, I said, flatly. There's nothing you can do. It's too late. 3 days later, an email landed in my inbox. Subject, I'm sorry. From Madison. I almost deleted it. My finger hovered over the trash icon. But curiosity won. Olivia, it began, I know you don't want to hear from me. I know I don't deserve your attention, but I need to say this. I was jealous. So jealous of you. You were smart and capable, and people liked you without you even trying. I had to work for every bit of attention I got, and it still wasn't enough. You were always better. When Jake liked you instead of me, I snapped. I planned the whole thing. The screenshots, the bruise, everything. I knew Mom and Dad would believe me. They always did. I didn't think it would go that far. I didn't think Dad would actually throw you out. When I saw you walking into the storm, I felt sick, but I couldn't take it back. I was too scared. Too proud. I've spent 13 years lying to everyone, to myself. I told people you died because it was easier than admitting what I did. I destroyed your life. I know that. And I destroyed my own too. I have no real friends now. Nobody trusts me. I lost my job offer because someone from graduation told HR about my family situation. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm just asking you to know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Madison. I read it twice. Saved it. Didn't respond. 4 days later, she sent another. Then another. Each one more desperate. More broken. After the 5th email, I finally replied. Short. Final. Madison, I accept that you were young, but you had 13 years to correct it. You chose to keep me erased. I forgive you for my own peace, but I don't want contact. Please respect that. She stopped emailing. My speech went even more viral than I'd expected. A local news station reached out, wanting to interview me about the scholarship program. I agreed, but only if we focus solely on the students, not my personal story. The segment aired. Local researchers' Second Chances program helps students in crisis. They interviewed 3 scholarship recipients. One girl, her eyes shining, said, "This program saved my life." Literally. I was about to drop out. Miss Sterling's team gave me hope. Applications tripled. Funding requests poured in. 3 more universities wanted to partner. Education journals called, "Would you write about your methodology?" A national conference invited me to speak, Equity and Education, Closing the Gap. David knocked on my office door. "You're famous now. How does it feel?" "Weird. I just wanted to help some kids." "You're doing more than that, Olivia. You're changing systems." The State Board of Education even sent a commendation, recognition for outstanding contribution to educational equity. And through it all, I saw the ripple effects. Madison's social media went completely quiet. No more posts. Her accounts eventually went private. Dad sent one final email. "We're proud of you, even if we have no right to be." I didn't respond. Mom tried calling once. I didn't answer. Old family friends reached out on LinkedIn, sending awkward messages like, "Heard about your work. So impressive. Maybe we could catch up." I declined politely. Meanwhile, Eleanor was accepted as a keynote speaker at a national conference. "Come with me," she said, as my guest and colleague. "I'd love to." We flew to Chicago, presented together, stayed in a beautiful hotel, and talked about everything except my biological family. "You've built a good life, Olivia," Eleanor said over dinner one night. "You should be proud." "I am," I told her, "because of you." "No," she shook her head gently. "Because of you. I just gave you a chance. You did the rest." 1 year after Madison's graduation, my life looked completely, fundamentally different. The Second Chances Scholarship was now active in 10 universities. We'd helped 83 students stay in school, stay alive, stay hopeful. I was promoted to senior director, got a corner office, a significant raise, and recognition from people whose names I'd only ever read in textbooks. I even dated someone, a kind man named Marcus, who worked in public policy. It didn't work out, but it ended amicably. I was learning that not all endings had to be painful. Eleanor turned 60. We threw a huge party, colleagues, friends, students she'd mentored over the years. People who loved her, chose her, built family around her. I gave a toast to the woman who taught me that family is built, not born. Thank you for choosing me, she cried. Happy tears. I thought about my biological family sometimes. Not often. Not painfully. Just thoughts. Wondering where they were, if Madison had ever truly gotten help, if Dad still sent unanswered emails. They sent a Christmas card once. No return address, just signatures. Richard, Patricia, Madison. No message. No explanation. I put it in a drawer. Didn't throw it away. Didn't respond. Just acknowledged it existed. I spoke at another graduation, a different university, different students, but a similar message: boundaries aren't walls, they're doors you control. Afterward, a young woman approached me, about 20 years old, tearful. That was my story, too, she whispered. My family kicked me out at 16. I thought I was alone. You're not alone, I told her, my voice gentle. You're surviving. That's more than enough. She hugged me tight. Thank you. I drove home that evening to the quiet, peaceful house I shared with Eleanor, my real mother, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Complete peace. People often ask me if I regret that night, the storm, the excruciating pain, the hospital. And you know what? I don't. Because it led me here. To this life, this incredible work, this family I chose. Not every story has a happy ending like mine. I know I'm incredibly lucky. Dr. Eleanor Smith found me, chose me, saved me. Not everyone gets that. But here's what everyone does get. Everyone gets to set boundaries. Everyone gets to decide who has access to them. You don't owe toxic people your presence. Not even if they're family. Especially not if they're family. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. You can absolutely forgive someone for your own peace, while still keeping them completely out of your life. Those aren't contradictory. They're both necessary sometimes. I learned that blood doesn't make family. Choice does. Consistency does. Showing up does. Eleanor showed up every single day for 13 years. She earned the title Mom. My biological parents? They showed up once, failed, and never tried again. That tells you everything you need to know. I learned that success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about building something meaningful despite them. The scholarship program wasn't revenge. It was purpose. It was turning my deepest pain into something that actively helps others. That's the difference. Revenge seeks to hurt. Purpose seeks to heal. I learned that your worth isn't determined by who stays. It's determined by how you grow after they leave. Some people will always underestimate you, reject you, tell you you're too broken, too sick, too much, or not enough. That's their limitation, not yours. You get to decide what happens next. You get to choose who you become. I chose to become someone who helps kids like me. Kids who need a second chance. Kids who deserve to know they're worth saving. That's my legacy. Not the family that threw me away, but the family I built afterward. So, that's my story. The storm that almost destroyed me became the catalyst for everything I built. I'm 28 now, the same age as when I started telling you this, but I feel older, wiser, whole. My parents' names are still in my phone. I haven't deleted them, but I haven't called either. They exist in my past, not my present, and definitely not my future. Madison still sends me a message every few months. Short. Apologetic. Thinking of you. Hope you're well. I read them. I don't respond. Maybe someday I will. Maybe not. Either way is okay. Dr. Eleanor Smith is Mom now. Not Dr. Smith, just Mom. She's the emergency contact on every form, the person I call when something good happens, the one whose opinion matters most. Blood didn't make her my mother. Choice did. 13 years of showing up, of believing in me, of loving me when I couldn't love myself. That's family. Every year on October 15th, the anniversary of that storm, I drive past my old house. Not to punish myself, not to wallow. Just to remember. I park across the street, look at those windows, that door, and I think, that girl survived. She survived being called sick, being thrown away, being told she was too broken to love. And she didn't just survive, she thrived. If you're in a storm right now, metaphorical or real, know this, you can survive it. You can even thrive after it. Just because someone gives up on you doesn't mean you give up on yourself. Set your boundaries. Choose your family. Build your purpose. And never, ever let anyone tell you you're too sick, too broken, or too much. You're exactly enough. What do you think about Olivia's choices and her journey? Have you ever had to choose your own family? Let me know in the comments below. I truly read every single one. Thank you for listening. Take care. And good luck.